Thanks so much for clicking on the video and stopping by. My name is Leah. So let's recap and review Love and Marriage DC. It was a pretty decent episode, but it could have been better. But let's get into it. It doesn't have anything to do with Love and Marriage DC, but it has everything to do with Monique. And I read it after I watched the video, not video, but actually after I watched the episode. And it peeved me. It peeved me off because it's just, I just think that lady is fake. I just think she's completely fake. But I still can be fair when I do my reviews because, so I know how to be objective, but I just think she's fake. And so this is from Bravo Snark side. They posted it 5 days ago. And it's just, let's talk about it, and then we'll get into the review. It goes, Monique Samuels claims Bravo production manipulated scenes before the fight with co-star Candace Dillard Bassett. And it goes, former Real Housewives of Potomac star Monique Samuels exited the hit Bravo series following the 5th season. In season 5, episode 8, Samuels got into a physical altercation with her co-star Candace Dillard at a winery. During a May 2022 episode of the podcast Two Teas in a Pod, hosted by former Bravo stars Teddy Mellencamp and Tamara Judge, Samuels spoke about Dillard. She said she shared that she has not been in contact with the 35-year-old since filming RHOP season 5. She stated, I do not talk to people that sit at the children's table anymore, stated former RHOP star. Samuel also claimed Bravo production edited the show to make it seem like she and Dillard had significant issues with each other throughout season 5. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that people think is just the fight. The fight happened like it was a fluke. There wasn't any build up to it. Production manipulated scenes, even the time in which they aired the episodes. It was just all out of sequence to make it seem like there was this major buildup in the cause of the fight. It wasn't like anything like that at all. It simply was your hands was in my face and I asked you to get them out and you didn't, and it just got crazy from there, stated Samuels. Well, when I talked to executives right after the fight happened the next day, I told them, I said, I didn't come here for this. This is getting me out of my character. I'm not the person. I am a person pretty much in control of myself. I said this is just not good for me. I said I'm sorry to the network. I'm sorry to production, but I don't want to do this anymore, said Samuels. That was all scripted. That was Bravo. That was the network. That was production, the production company. That was all of them, because Andy Cohen literally said, Giselle, you brought someone with you. Come on, that's so scripted, stated the 38-year-old. So scripted that nobody is allowed on set. It was a closed set, and the whole COVID situation was going on. Everyone had to wear a mask and get tested. So that means that security guards were tested and approved to be there. So it was all of them. It was scripted. It was a scripted little plot. I thought about it and I said, yeah, I'm done. I don't talk to anybody. I wrote the email. I went outside with my family and I read it to them and I said, what do y'all think about that? And they were like, so you're quitting? And I was like, yeah, I'm done. And they said, well, okay, stated the reality, a television personality with a laugh. So here's my thing. I take issue with this twofold. One, I'm sick of y'all referring to Candace as a child when this child, y'all like to say, has a master's degree, is actually being featured in films, has a decent music career, and has a billboard in Times Square and is being featured in magazines. So y'all try to belittle her with that whole child thing, but the child that y'all like to call her is actually making waves and making moves. And I'm not even a Candace stan. I enjoy her on the show, and yes, I find her to be annoying at times, but I'm not gonna hate on nobody who's actually making waves. She's making moves. And you're still on this show where a lot of people feel like you're not needed. So what does that say about you, Monique? Like, a lot of people have told me and have even said on social media, I'm only watching this show because of Ashley and because of Arena and Winter. I don't even think they needed Monique to be there. So it's like, stop calling that lady a child when you can't even get close to her. Like, her star is rising compared to yours. That looks like it's staying stagnant, and it's just here, and she's up here. So chill out. On top of that, I don't think Monique understands, nor does she have the wherewithal or the cognizant ability to realize, to read the room. You're saying that nothing happened. Like, production was trying to give you like a reason that you did what you did to Candace. The fact that you're saying that there wasn't a reason makes you look crazy, lady. Because now it's like, oh, like you're unstable because you're saying her hand was in my face. Ma'am, you touched her first. You were touching her hair. You're like, want me to drag you? Want me to drag you? Want me to drag you? You initiated said altercation. So at the end of the day, she can't, even if, because she didn't have her hands in her face, but if she did, she was well within her right when you decided to touch her first to cause this action, to cause this reaction that you had that now you're saying wasn't caused by anything that the show tried to give you evidence of saying this was what happened to lead to this. But now you're saying that that didn't happen and that it was just because her hands was in my face. You look crazy. Right, so we open up and we're actually at the doctor's office with Quick and Ashley. I guess Quick has gout in his arm or like severe inflammation in his hand due to DJing and constantly using his hand. He waited till the last minute because he explained that like he was feeling funny, his hand was like getting sore, and then it got to the point where he couldn't even tie his shoes. And so the doctor basically said that in order for this to actually subside and change, you have to have a full lifestyle change. So pretty much saying that like cut down on drinking, lessening work hours, eating a healthy lifestyle. And Quick went to the whole extreme of saying like, y'all just want me not to live no more. You just want me to get fat. You don't want me to do nothing. And Ashley, I like that. Ashley was like, no, she's telling you to slow down. So instead of you doing 15 events, do 10. Instead of you DJing like hours upon hours upon hours, you do like 2 or 3 hours. Like, and I hate when people do that, especially men, because it's like, do you just want to break down and die? Because if you want to, go ahead and do it. But you have people actually here that genuinely care about you and want you to be okay. So then he kind of says he's gonna try his like best, but we know he not, because in the confessional he kind of was like, y'all like when I make money, so not gonna try. I will say Ashley looked really pretty in this lilac purple outfit she had with the hair sleeked up. She looked really pretty. We then have the next scene where it's Arena and Brittany, and they basically having a talk about Big Jamie and how they're like, he constantly is taking out his emotions on his family. He's very controlling. And they also talk about that night where Arena like left from her best friend's birthday party, and Brittany was like, he came up to me talking, basically complaining about you, like I was supposed to reprimand you for the things that you were doing. So it just really didn't make any sense to me. And so Brittany was like, we definitely need to talk to him, because it's like he's not understanding that like we love you and we know you love us, but the way in which you show it is a bit much, and we need you to work on that, sir. So then we have this scene with Quicksilver. We're at the I don't know, is it the Silva's house? It's Quick, it's Ashley, and then they're invited, what's her name, Monique and Chris over. And I just find Monique to be fake. I just do. I do. And like I said in my previous thing, when we read about the article, she don't know how to read the room. Like, Ashley and Quick were annoyed with her because she went on. They did a time lapse of her going on and on and on and on about the whole debacle that happened at Mommy Fun Time or Fun Time Moms thing that Ashley, at the selfie event with between Ashley and Winter. And it was just like, you could tell that neither Quick or Ashley wanted to rehash it. And she just kept going on. And she kept doing that laugh she does. That I tell y'all, I really feel like that laugh is like a nervous tick, or it's a lying tick, or a lying tail. Because I feel like she does it when she's being fake. Like when she knows she's in the wrong, she laughs. Like she's like, I thought I was helping and I just made it worse. And it was like, you know, you weren't helping. You know, like we get it. I would have more, like, I would give more Monique more credit if she would just own that she's trying to be the bone carrier. She's trying to be the pot stirrer. Because it's like, you could have not thought telling them all this information that Winter told, like telling Ashley and Arena what Winter said without Winter being there and adding gasoline to the fire of that conversation you had with Winter would go well. Like, ma'am, you couldn't have thought that would go well. Like, I know for a fact you couldn't have thought that would go well. And then this whole thing of like, I was just trying to help, but I think I made it worse. Yeah, you made it worse. You definitely made it worse. And like, she wouldn't shut up. She just like wouldn't shut up. So then Quick got upset, and Quick was basically like, y'all tried to play my wife at her event. And so then Monique has this face like, ooh, like I really put my foot in my mouth, because Quick legit was like, y'all tried to play her. It wasn't like Winter tried to play. He preferenced that conversation. Y'all tried to play my wife. So looking at you, Monique, you tried to play Ashley, and it just didn't go well because you're not good at being a bone collector or a pot stirrer. Like, you're not a charade. Like, you can't get in and get out. You're not good at that. So then they were trying to say, like, you know, when Monique trying to say, well, like, Winter's not a bad person. She's not that type of girl. And Ashley's like, I don't know her. I don't care to know her, but I know what she was trying to say, like rumors, like she was trying to give legs to things that don't have legs. And Chris was like, well, if the rumor don't have legs, then why add to it? Like, why be testy about it? And that's when Quick came in and said, I feel like y'all try to play my wife at her event. And I was just like, yes, but your wife made it worse, because there was no need for Ashley to get irate and start yelling at the top of her lungs and then tell Winter to get the fuck out. There was no need for that. Like, she could have centered herself and like, you know what, bruh? I'm gonna need you to leave because I don't want you here. There was no need for the constant yelling. So you made that worse, Winter. Winter made that worse. So, not Winter, Ashley made that worse. So then we get this scene with Winter. We actually meet her two oldest kids. Her daughter, I think, what's her daughter's name? CJ is her son. Her son's 18, and I think her daughter's name is Kayla. And like I said on Twitter, I'm not taking advice from an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old who, I have issue with this conversation. I definitely have issues with this conversation because Winter called them in. They find out, like, she's telling her two oldest kids that she's moving forward with her divorce with Kevin, which is cool. Like, they're old enough to understand what's going on, so you might as well let them in on what's going on. What I had an issue with is her daughter and her son trying to act like just because your mom got loved bombed, that she shouldn't take accountability for the fact that she didn't take the necessary steps to vet this man before letting him enter your life. Like, your mom is 40. She's 40 years old. She married a man and she did not know his living situations. And then to say, like, it was COVID, I wasn't going to go over to his house is a crock of, like, why you didn't go to his house because you didn't want to go to his house because you were okay with what was being given to you monetarily. So for them to say, like, it wasn't your fault, no, like, your mom needs to take accountability. And like I said online, I'm not taking therapeutic, like, not therapeutic, but like relationship advice from an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old using buzzwords that they found off of social media, i.e. Twitter and TikTok. Like, yes, it's good to have conversations with your kids. Yes, it's important to facilitate healthy understanding, but it's also important that your kids see you take accountability, because if you're always in this perpetual victim state where you are constantly the victim, you then begin to victimize the people around you and put them in dangerous situations. So my thing is like, your kids, Winter legitimately to me should have been like, yes, I was love bombed, but I did make some mistakes where I didn't take the necessary steps. Because is it all Winter's fault? No, it's not all Winter's fault. But she does play some fault in this. Because again, you're 40 years old and you chose to marry a man where you didn't know his living situations. So I'm not about to give you that much grace when you have children. So you paired yourself with somebody and you didn't vet them before you let them into your life, and you have 4 kids. That's on you, ma'am. That's on you. Is a sit down where Monique was trying to facilitate this sit down between Ashley and Winter. And it, for the most part, it went okay. They basically found out that Monique put 20 on 12 for no reason, and that's what caused the breakdown in communication. And like I thought on Winter's part, Winter legitimately was, what's it called? Winter was basically venting to Monique. Like, you know, when you talk to your friends, even if you're in the wrong or if you're in the right, and you talk about like how you feel about a certain situation, you normally exaggerate. You normally be like, girl, I felt like they were trying to ambush me. And knowing that that wasn't the case, but I was happy that Winter was had enough wherewithal to be like, yeah, like, excuse me, this is the second time Monique has been getting real close to people that like don't like me, and now I'm looking at her sideways, which is understandable. So they sit down, and Winter basically says, Ashley said, well, the way it was relayed to me was that you had more information about my man and that you were about to blast me. And Winter was like, I would never do that. Like, I would never do that. And Winter said in her confessional, she was like, I've heard rumors about him. Like, the community is small, but I would never like throw those rumors in her face. Like, I'm not, like, that's not who I am. And then they kept talking, and then I think Winter said her issue was that she got called out her name. And Ad was kind of with Ashley when Ashley was like, you talking about my husband, whether it be a blue, black, white, green woman, I'm going to call you a bitch. And then I hate when black women do this, where they're like, as a black woman, girl, as a person, like, okay, I'm like, y'all be trying to hold black women to this moral code, and then that ends up hurting us in the end. Like, okay, she called you a bitch. Like, if she felt like you was being a bitch, no matter if you are a black woman, you got called one. Either own it or don't own it. But don't be trying to put like this superiority or these respectability politics about like, as a black woman, we shouldn't be. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Even, we've all learned that even if we come in 3-piece suits or we are dressed in our Sunday's best, you will still get accosted or killed. So like, let's not play these games. Like, let's not play these games. So I was looking at Winter like, calm down, Winter, calm down. So basically, Ashley at the end of the conversation was like, they're still associates, but in her confessional, Ashley was just kind of like, I don't really have an issue with Winter, but it's like, Ashley, you kind of do, because you've been kind of coming at the lady, throwing shots since the first episode when you were at her event and you called it boring. And then you kind of was on her, you was on her neck at Monique's and Chris's event at the dinner table. So it's like, you say you don't have an issue, but you still be throwing like darts and slick shade at the lady. So it does look like you do have an issue with her. And same with Winter, like Winter's just giving you back what you give her. So I can't really fault that lady too much. It is what it is at this point. Okay, so this is the final scene of the night, and it's basically they rounded up all the couples except Winter, because I think Winter said she was going to California, and they met with Terry. Terry's supposed to be Monique's like energy cleanser, but I think Terry is the lady that also told Chris to write the letter of his wants and desires. And I'm not gonna lie, I was talking trash about Miss Terry when I found out like this is supposed to be the person that they're supposed to be getting marriage counseling from. And I have an issue with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with having energy cleansing or going to a medium or a holistic healer or anything like that, because I just think like we and people in general are magical beings as it is, but I do believe that there are certain people that are here that have special gifts that can't be explained. And she proved me wrong, but I also feel like they should be going to a licensed professional, because as gifted as Miss Terry is, there needs to be more than y'all just going to her to cleanse your body, you know, if that makes sense. And the reason why I say that, we'll just get into it. When she read Monique and Chris, she told Chris that he needs to stop trying to live through Monique. And I kind of didn't like how Monique was like basically bashing, well, I won't say bashing, but she was like kind of like going, like trying to like, what's the word? lectured Chris in the green screen in their confessional about what Terry meant. And I'm just kind of like, he was trying to give his own interpretation of what he thought Terry meant, and then she immediately like cuts him off and chimes in. And I'm just kind of like, well, if the message was meant to him, then he should be the one to explain what it is. Like, you can add in on what you think it is, but like, the message, she specifically said the message was for Chris. But she basically said Chris needs to stop living through Monique. And I think what a lot of people have been saying, especially like in my comments and what I've been seeing online, is that there's a block with Chris, but I think Chris thinks everything's okay because Monique, I guess in a sense, is like thriving in his eyes. Like, she's doing her oil, she's doing her podcast, she's on the radio. Like, in his eyes, we're good. Like, our what's it called? Our kids are great. They're healthy. We have this income. We're doing good. But Monique wants more. And I don't fault her for wanting more. Like, there's no reason for you to be married and not, like, have what you want and, like, just wait it out and settle. But there's something there. And, like, when Chris said in the confessional where he was like, I think she's telling me to go for coaching. And she was like, and Monique was like, no. And I was like, no, I think that probably will help y'all. Because I think Chris is missing being on the field. And like I said in my other videos, a lot of people, whether they be male or female, who are like, and again, I mean, there's probably people that, any of the genders, non-binary and all that stuff. There's oftentimes like people who are constantly like heavily into sports, like from when they were like a baby all the way to like adulthood. And that's even like, and when I say sports, I'm talking about like ballet, dancing, people be doing jump rope as a sport, but like football and all that stuff that you can win awards for, and then you get to an age where you have to retire, a piece of them is missing. It's like kind of like, because that was so much of their identity that without having it, they don't know how to function. And I think when Chris said, I think she's telling me to go for my career to coach, I was like, that might actually benefit them in some way. Like, him having coaching might bring a spark back into him that Monique saw when they got together. So her kind of like beating that down, I was like, girl, you blocking your own blessing. Because if you want to stay with Chris, I think him doing coaching might actually benefit your family like holistically. Because he would have something that he's passionate about, and then it would probably like bleed into his kids and even y'all's marriage, because he would be happy within himself. But she just knocked that down so quickly. She then does a reading on Quick. We find out, like Terry was saying, that she kept seeing like 999. Unfortunately, we found out that his mom passed away at 9, or that's when he found out that she had cancer and she was dying. And then in 1999, his dad died. So it's like he is in this Quick, I think, has high functioning anxiety. And I mean, like, I'm not a medical professional, but I think he has high functioning anxiety and depression, because he's like, anytime something really good happens, he's always waiting for the shoe to drop, because in his life, he's experienced very high highs and very low lows. Like, he was like, he could have like a stellar year, and then the next year just be complete like obliteration of like his of everything. So he's constantly like, that's why he works all the time, because that's how he copes. And I think he was like, when he turned 10, that's when he started DJing. And then when he was like in 1999, I think he was saying that like that's when he got like accepted into like radio, so things were like looking up for him. He even said that like he was selfishly wishes his dad could be here, because he was the same guy that told him he didn't need to DJ, he needed to get a real job. And he was like, it would be great to like rub it in his face and show him like, bro, I did that. Like I did that, and you told me I couldn't, but I did that. And Ashley was saying that like he doesn't let his emotions out. Like, he comes home still like in his DJ Quicksilver persona, but he doesn't like he doesn't show me him. Kind of the same thing that Monique is dealing with. And Terry was saying that I see a lot of like sadness and fear with Quick, and I was like, y'all need to go to therapy. y'all definitely need to go to therapy, because what we find out that a lot of these men are like emotionally stunted, and it's due to their parents. Because you got Quick saying that like even when he read his letter, because at the last scene of the episode is Quick and his three brothers, and he's reading his letter to their dad's grave, and it was the second time he read this letter that his mom gave him when she gave it to him when she was dying. And it was basically talking about be strong. And I'm like, how do you tell a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old to be strong, and you're their mother, and they're dying? You're dying, man. Like, you're dying. And then at the funeral, you got their daddy telling them, like, don't cry, be a man. And it's like their mom is gone. Like, bruh, let them cry. That's why we got a whole bunch of psychotic men out here already who are like, don't know how to regulate their emotions, so they just out here taking people out for no reason. And so I was just like, dang, like, y'all need therapy. The whole family. All three of them men. Because Quick, like, the moment Quick started reading the letter, he broke down. Because we find out that the first person he read this letter to or with was with Ashley. So this was the third time he read the letter to his brothers. And they all was just hugging on each other. And I'm like, and it was like, at first they was being jokey. But I'm like, no, like, embrace each other. Like, hold on to one another. Like, I'm just like, this is wild to me. And then the last couple we're going to talk about is Arena and Jamie. Basically, Jamie got emotional issues as well. Like, he is insecure, and when he's insecure, that ego and that vibrato comes out to where he feels like he has to defend himself. And even Jamie was like, yeah, I see what Terry is talking about. Like, I am like that. Like, if I'm uncomfortable, like, when he gets uncomfortable, he gets all big in his chest. Like, he puffs out his chest, and that comes with the yelling. And I think that's also, like, she even said, we know, like, he was like, you have a big heart, but, like, you guard yourself. And Jamie even said that he was like, I'm the type of person, you don't start nothing, won't be nothing. But if you start with me, I come at you. And she said, I feel like there's, like, a bull, like a pit bull. And he basically is that. And, like, and he showed it, like, immediately once she started to read Arena, and Arena just started crying because she said, I'm seeing like someone make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it's too perfect. Like, it's like the smearing is too perfect. Like, you're trying to mask something. And she just started crying, and he like going hit her on the knee, like, why you doing that? And I'm like, so do you, like, you don't like emotions? And that's like I just said, when you breed men and even women who don't like emotions, internally they become angry because the only emotion they feel is okay to express is anger. And like, that is dangerous. And so I'm like, yeah, you could have hugged Arena in her confessional when they were doing it together. You were supposed to hug me. And I was like, yeah, you could have put your arm around her. But I can tell that Jamie is uncomfortable with emotions. Like, that's why, like, when he told her, like, oh, like on the last episode where he was like, don't do all that crying mess. You can tell he's uncomfortable with emotions because he's uncomfortable with his own emotions. But like I said, they all probably need to go to Miss Terry, but they do need to go to a licensed professional. And I don't think I explained why. But the reason why is, like, when the whole Monique and Chris had their reading, she was like, this is so, like, when she said the whole thing about, like, you're living through Monique. This is something I want you to talk to amongst yourselves. I was like, no, they need to talk to somebody and talk to somebody who can mediate and help them drive the conversation. Because, excuse me, clearly them talking to each other is not getting them anywhere. They're just going in a constant like cycle of Chris feeling like he's not being heard, Monique's not feeling like they're not being heard, but then both feeling like they're voicing what they have, like their issues with each other, but there's no tools. Just telling them to go home and talk to each other, I don't think that would help. They need to be sitting in front of somebody and actually like talking, and that person saying, here are tools to help you get to where you need to be. Then go meet Miss Terry to cleanse your energy. But that's just me. But yeah, y'all, that was like the end of the episode. Next episode looks interesting. It looked like Arena and Winter about to get into it. Arena is like that weave gonna be bobbing. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and drop down in the comments below. Deuces.